What's up, gearheads? Trey Xavier here, and welcome to a very special edition of Gear God's Quality Control. Today we're going to be taking a look at the iRig pads by IK Multimedia, and I'm going to give you a little tutorial on how I use something like this to program drums for my demos. So as you can see, I'm still on vacation. I don't have my usual big old rig like I do at home, so I figured this was a good opportunity to test some more mobile stuff. As you can see, we've got a 4x4 row of 16 pads, and they light up when you hit them, and they're velocity sensitive, so the harder you hit it, the more red and angry it gets. And then we've got a assignable slider and these two assignable knobs that can be used for pretty much anything. A scene select, which you can use for basically different button layouts that are automatically already pre-programmed in. A fixed velocity, which makes all your hits the same velocity level in case you're doing something that doesn't really need any dynamics. And a data wheel. And two buttons with numbers on them. I don't know what they do. Basically what I use this for is programming drums. And it's a lot faster than doing it with the mouse, of course. But you can use this to trigger lots of different stuff, like use it live, you could use it to trigger 808s, or samples of any kind, fart noises, or chicken sounds, or whatever, dogs barking. Yeah, so I like it a lot. It's pretty cool. It's extremely simple. It's very light. It's cheap. It's like 150 bucks. As you can see, it's not much bigger than my iPad. Well, it's actually not as long. There's a sustain pedal input, a mobile connector, and a USB connection for your computer. You can plug it right into your iPod or your iPad and use it to control anything from Sample Tank to Amplitude Studio or GarageBand or DJ Rig or anything like that. It's made a pretty sturdy... almost found out exactly how sturdy it was. It's made of pretty sturdy plastic and nice strong rubber pads. I don't feel like I'm going to break them if I really smack the shit out of them. But they're also sensitive enough to register lighter hits. I also had a really fun time making stupid fun techno songs on my iPad with this. You can use it to jam pretty much anywhere, which is cool. Throw this and your iPad in a carry-on bag, and suddenly your airplane ride is going to be a great deal less boring and a lot more productive. So you can also use it for your computer. It's USB MIDI, so you can just plug it right into your USB port, and I can confirm that it is plug and play for Pro Tools 11. I plugged it right in and it worked immediately. It also has different scenes preset for certain DAWs and certain programs, and you can set the scene, and the buttons are set up for that particular program. Programming drums with a mouse is maybe the most tedious and mind-numbing thing you can do. So I'm going to show you how using an interface like this will make programming drums 1,000 times easier. Of course, the easiest way to do it would be with an electronic drum set, but one of those can't fit in your backpack either. So I'm not really much of a drummer, but I do like to play, and you know, I'm one of those guys that walks around tapping on everything and playing beats on anything that I can hit. So now I can basically make use of that almost useless skill by utilizing the pads and doing essentially the same thing. If you can play even the basic drum beat, you can program your drums in less than half the time that you would clicking around with a mouse. So I've got this riff here that I wrote for my most recent Ibanez demo of the RGIT27FE. I really hope I got that right. So here's the riff. So now I've got this riff and I've got the click going. Of course, I've recorded it to the click, but now I want some drums. So I just set up an instrument track with Easy Drummer and away we go. So I have a pretty good idea of what I want the beat to sound like, but in order to get it into the computer, I'm going to basically play the hands first, and then I'm going to play the feet part in. So here's what it sounds like. So what we're going to do now is match the kick drum part to the riff. Kind of sounds like shit, but all the elements are there, and so now what we're going to do, we're going to do a little bit of elfin magic. Go up to Event, Quantize. So I've got it set to quantize to a 16th note grid, which can be a little bit tricky because if you're a little bit off, it might quantize it to the wrong note. But we're going to try it anyways. And I like to do it to a little bit randomized, just to give it a slightly more human feel. I think I may have done it too much for this one. So of course I can see right here that it didn't do what it was supposed to do. Then I've selected all the kick drums, and now I'm going to set the velocity to maximum on all of those, as well as on the snare drum here, because for this part in particular we don't want any dynamics in the kick and snare. We want a lot of dynamics in the China part, that alternating hard and soft to give it a little bit of life. Okay. Not perfect, but it's easy to just zoom in and see where I did it wrong and fix that. Yeah, so here's what I actually wanted. You can always go back in later and adjust the velocities to get more dynamics, but it's usually a lot easier and faster to just play it the way that you hear it. Think of all the things you could do with the time that you save. You can take up a third or fourth hobby. You could go outside, you can go skydiving, or you could not go skydiving. You could learn how to read. So now that I've saved you hours of your life that would be otherwise wasted, we can embellish the drum parts with some fills and ghost notes. So first we're going to do some ghost notes. That wasn't necessarily all that spectacular, but now we go in and clean it up a little bit. Cool. Fills in some of those empty spaces to keep the groove going. And if you like, you can move them around a little bit if you didn't think they wound up in a good spot. Stuff like that. All right, now let's try adding some fills. Now we gotta find a spot where we want it. So usually you put a fill at the end of a phrase of 4 or 8 bars. So we're gonna put it right in the middle of the whole riff here. So I'm going to switch to fixed velocity mode because I don't want any dynamics in this fill. Okay, so first we're going to clear a little space for where we want our fill to go. Not perfect by any stretch, but now it is. Bam, fill. We'll drop another fill in here at the end just to finish it off. Here's the finished product.